Am I wrong for removing my daughter's bedroom door because she won't stop slamming it? I, 40 female, have 3 kids. Maggie, 14 female, Levi, 12 male, and Charlie, 10 male. Levi and Charlie share a bedroom, and Maggie has her own room as the oldest and also only girl. Maggie is a great kid. She does her homework, helps with chores without too much complaint, doesn't bug her little brothers too much. The issue is that she will not stop slamming her bedroom door. When she gets up to use the bathroom at night, she slams her bedroom door on her way out and back in. When she gets up in the morning or goes to bed at night, she slams it. Pretty much anytime she enters or exits her room, the door gets slammed. And it's only her door, none of the other doors in the house. It shakes the walls and frequently wakes up everyone else in the house. Her brother's room shares a wall with hers, and our bedroom is directly above theirs. We've talked to her about it and asked her very politely to please be more mindful about it because it is disturbing the rest of us, but it's in one ear and out the other. We tried being more forceful about it, saying that if she continues to slam her door, there will start to be consequences. Still, nothing changes. It all came to a head the other night when she got up to use the bathroom and all 4 of us were woken up by the slamming. I have to be awake at 5 a.m. for work, and I've had enough of the broken sleep and came downstairs and knocked on her door. She opened it and said, "What?" with such an attitude, and it took a lot of self-control to not start yelling. I told her as calmly as I could that if she slammed the door one more time, she was going to come home and find it gone. She proceeded to yell at me to leave her alone and then slammed it 5 times as hard as she could. Well, the next day, Friday, she went to school and my husband and I both had the day off, so we took the door off the frame and installed a curtain rod with nice heavy curtain over the door instead. She came home and freaked the fuck out. She said we were being emotionally abusive and taking away her right to privacy. She sulked all weekend and won't talk to us now. My mother says I'm the asshole because I overreacted, but she doesn't have to deal with the house shaking. I want to add that we completely respect each other's privacy in our house, which is why we hung up a heavy curtain and made sure that we couldn't see through it or around it. We even put little Velcro pieces on the walls and curtain sides so it stays in place. She still has her physical privacy, which she is absolutely entitled to, but can't slam a piece of fabric. We also have never and still don't just go into her room unannounced and still knock on the wall to ask permission to enter. We've told her we'll happily put her door back on once she agrees to respect the no slamming rule. So, am I the asshole? My aunt went to her ex-boyfriend's wedding. My youngest aunt from my mom's side is a disappointment from the family. Like, even my parents tell me not to become like her. My maternal grandmother hates her, but she's the kind of woman I want to be when I grow up. My aunt is in her mid-30s now. She has a lot of tattoos and piercings, dyed hair, and played the drums. She is a bartender in a pub and she loves her job. But the reason no one talks about her in the family is because she's lesbian and she lives with her lover. So last year, after a bad mental breakdown, I begged my dad to take me to her place. I had dropped out of my final examination and I was in pretty bad condition. That's when she told me the story. So before she was dating her now girlfriend, she was dating this guy who she dreamt of spending her whole life with, only to find out he slept with his coworker. After a year of their breakup, the homewrecker comes to my aunt and gives her a wedding invitation and rubbing it into her face that she was pregnant. Well, the catch is, my aunt said gleefully that her ex was infertile. Him and my aunt had been trying to have a baby to no avail, and hence they went to a doctor. And the test results were sent to her. So her ex didn't know he was infertile. She said she didn't tell him out of spite, but boy did it play out good for her. Her ex was Christian, so they did not have a typical Hindu wedding, but the ones they show in English movies. My aunt talked to her ex's brother and convinced him to play a part in her revenge. The brother was up for it apparently. So at the reception, there are this walk down the memory lane kind of event where they show pictures of the couple. So after a few cute pictures, a picture of the homewrecker with another man kissing pops up. And then another, and as the bride was in a frenzy, the test result shows up on the screen and the slide stops. A written note saying that the groom was infertile. And boy, the aunties at the party were all in for the drama as the groom looked utterly humiliated and the bride was in tears. This is what you get for messing with the woman's true feelings. Man, I love my aunt. She's a badass. I told my fiance I don't really want to marry her anymore. My 26 male fiance, Sarah, 24 female, and I are set to get married in 3 months. We were visiting a botanical garden yesterday when Sarah pointed out a flower called the Arabian jasmine, a little white flower with a nice scent. She said that her cousin Stephanie had those at her wedding. I asked if it was the same Stephanie that would be in attendance with her husband at our wedding, and she said it was. Sarah and Stephanie are apparently pretty close, and she started telling me about Stephanie and her husband. At one point, she told me that Stephanie had actually cheated on her husband twice before they got married, and that the second time was a couple of months before the actual wedding. Her husband never found out. I asked her why she never told Stephanie's husband about what happened, and she responded by saying it wasn't her circus and wasn't her monkeys, and that it's not a big of a deal anyway since they weren't married at the time. I've been thinking about what she said ever since. I consider cheating the ultimate worst betrayal in a relationship. Clearly, my fiance doesn't think so since she said her cousin cheating wasn't that big of a deal since they weren't married. Would this mean that she thinks cheating on me right now wouldn't be that big of a deal since we aren't married yet? As a man, if I got cheated on by my partner, I hope someone who knew would tell me about it. I would heavily judge anyone who knew about it, didn't tell me, let me go on to marry the person that cheated on me, and attend my wedding as if nothing was wrong, like my fiance did to her cousin's husband. About an hour ago, I texted my fiance, I'm not sure if I can go forward with getting married. Let's talk in person later tonight. She's been blowing up my phone with texts and missed calls ever since. I'm just going to tell her what I've said in this post when I see her. I broke up with my boyfriend over the Tubi Super Bowl commercial. I, 23 female, broke up with my boyfriend, 25 male, over the reaction he had to me over the commercial. For those of you who are unaware, during the Super Bowl commercials, Tubi, a streaming app, played a prank where they made it look like someone was changing the TV over to their app. I'm sure that in many households it caused chaos and was a funny event, but not in mine. My boyfriend thought I was the one changing the channel and began screaming at me violently, calling me things that I don't even want to write down. Even as I told him it was a commercial, he ignored me and kept blowing up at me and punched a hole in our living room wall. He eventually realized what actually happened and awkwardly apologized, but I was so disgusted over his reaction to a 15-second commercial. I feel like if you can't keep your anger in check and get that violent over something so small, I don't want to be around for it. We'd been together for over a year, living together for the past 2 months, and I've known him to get angry at things sometimes, but this really took me off guard, and I can't forget how unsafe I felt around him during this. In the morning, I took some of my things and I'm now staying at my parents' house. I left him a note telling him how I felt and that I didn't think we were going to work out long term. He's been messaging me and calling me repeatedly. My parents told me that I'm overreacting since he had a bit to drink and the Super Bowl gets everyone riled up, but I don't feel that I am. I don't think it's normal to be that angry. Oh my god, good for you for getting out of that when you can. When people show you who they are, listen to them. Who would have thought Tubi would be saving people's lives long term? What a relationship test. I'm going to have an abortion because my fiance cheated. I'm 29 female and he's 31 male. We've been together for 7 years and engaged for 9 months. To keep a long story short, I found out my fiance was cheating on me when I was 10 weeks pregnant. He has slept with multiple women for what looks like the last 2 years. I never wanted children, but he really wanted to be a father. After the initial shock of finding out he was cheating, I had to think rationally. Could I really let myself be tied down to this man for the rest of my life? Could I trust him to raise a child with me? The answer was no. I gave him the best years of my life, and I wasn't going to give him any more. I knew I'd resent the child. I just wanted to move on and never see him again. I told him I was going to get an abortion. He begged me not to. He apologized and said we could work it out and all he wants is to raise a family together. He swore I'd be a great mom and he'd be a great dad. He said if we didn't work out, he'd be there 100% for the child and that he could be the one with full custody and I could have visitation. I told him that my mind was made up and that he should have thought of that before cheating. He threatened to sue me if I went through with it. My parents weren't on board either. They say they're pro-choice, but they think that me getting an abortion is purely for revenge and not for the right reasons. I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I can't have a child with this man. Not after this. I can't do it. I can't even carry the baby and give him full custody. Why should I put my body through this after what he did? Why would I give him what he wants after he's ruined me? It's scheduled for next Friday. There's no doubt in my mind that this is what I should do. No one but my sisters and close friends seem to agree with me. My male friends are against it. My ex-fiance is still begging me not to, and I know he's speaking to a lawyer. The next week isn't going to be easy, but I'll do what I have to. I gave this man the best years of my life. I gave him everything I had and everything I could. For 7 years, I've loved him unconditionally, but I cannot have this child with him.